The Fifth Elephant by Terry Pratchett. Come closer, settle in. This is a City Watch story about Uberwald, a stolen scone, and the discovery that diplomacy is policing in a better coat. On the disc, fat is fuel, tradition is a blunt instrument, and werewolves always think they are the weather. Ankh-Morpork needs the fat minds of Uberwald the way a body needs a liver, unglamorous, essential, easily offended. Commander Vimes is sent as ambassador because Lord Veterinary enjoys watching a man who hates politics do it correctly. Lady Sybil comes because Uberwald is also family history, and because Vimes is safer when someone who loves him can see the trap. Angua returns to a castle of wolves who believe civilization is a hobby for sheep. Her brother Wolfgang treats murder as exercise. Her father is old power in a dressing gown. Cheery Littlebottom walks into dwarf politics wearing a dress, which some minds treat as heresy and some as the future arriving early. Detritus discovers that low temperature and high honor can coexist in a troll. The Scone of Stone is not just baking. It is the dwarf coronation, identity, and 1,000 years of not explaining themselves to humans. When it goes missing, Uberwald's factions reach for knives they have been sharpening since the last treaty. Igor, or Igors, provides surgery, loyalty, and a lisp that is a cultural treasure. Inigo Skimmer from the Assassin's Guild provides the sort of help Vimes does not want to need. Vimes does not hunt like a wolf. He hunts like a copper, tired, stubborn, and interested in who benefits. He is chased through snow. He is left for dead. He is not dead. Ankh-Morpork has trained him in a worse wilderness than Uberwald, the one with paperwork. Wolfgang wants a world simple enough to bite. Vimes wants a world complicated enough for Sybil to take tea in. Those two wishes cannot share a forest. The scone is found, in the way of sacred objects, not where the songs said, but where the evidence pointed. Dwarfs crown what they must. Werewolves learn that the Watch's idea of species is suspect until sorted. Angua chooses the city again, which is how love looks when it has a badge. If you are still awake, remember this: empires run on fat, oaths, and the willingness of one tired man to walk further than the monsters expect. Sleep well. The snow is clean tonight. The mines tick. Somewhere a coach is pointing home. Uberwald's trees do not care about Ankh-Morpork. They care about winter. Vimes understands winter. He has been married to a dragon breeder and employed by a tyrant. Weather is the least of his negotiations. Sybil in Uberwald is not a decoration. She is the reminder that Vimes's violence has a sitting room to return to, and that sitting rooms are a political achievement. Cheery among the deep-down dwarfs is a lantern in a library that preferred the dark. She does not shout. She exists, which is louder. The Igors stitch the living because the dead are less interesting. Their castles are hospitals that forgot to advertise. Vimes, who distrusts doctors and mountains equally, ends up owing both. Diplomacy, Veterinary knows, is what you call it when Vimes is too far away to punch the right person on schedule. The joke is that Vimes still punches the right person. He simply files it as an incident. Wolfgang's pack is a philosophy: the strong eat, the weak narrate. Vims's pack is a philosophy too. The strong stand a watch so the weak can narrate in the morning. Fat, on the disc, is not a punchline. It is candles, soap, cosmetics, and the clacks of industry. Steal the fat and the city goes dark in ways that are not poetic. When Vimes comes home, the watch house smells the same. That is the point of a city. You can visit the Gothic, survive it, and still have to empty your boots. There. The fire is low. The scone is where it belongs, or close enough for government work. Tomorrow there will be more treaties, more snow somewhere else, and a commander who pretends he is not good at this. For tonight, Uberwald is a story, and Ankh-Morpork is a bed. Snow is a kind of paperwork. It records who walked where and then melts, which is more honest than most archives. Vimes reads snow the way he reads alleys, looking for the lie that is too smooth. Uberwald's hospitality is a test. The guest who survives dinner is invited to survive breakfast. Sybil treats this as a social calendar. Vimes treats it as a crime scene that has not happened yet. Between them they cover the range of human optimism. Angua's family is what happens when the moon is treated as a constitution. Constitutions that bite are still constitutions. She left once. Leaving twice is how you know the city won. The scone is heavy with meaning and surprisingly stubborn as an object. Sacred baking is still baking. Someone still had to steal it with hands. Vimes likes hands. Hands leave evidence. Detritus in the cold is a philosophical problem. How much honor can you fit in a body that was not designed for drawing rooms? Quite a lot, it turns out, if the drawing room is the watch. Inigo's mildness is a blade with manners. Vimes would prefer an enemy who looks like one. Uberwald refuses this courtesy. When the fat flows again, Ankh-Morpork lights its candles and pretends geography was never a threat. Geography always is. That is why you send a copper instead of a poet. Home is the sound of the river doing something unspeakable and the kettle doing something kind. Vimes prefers the kettle. Sybil prefers him beside it. The fifth elephant, if it ever existed, can stay a story. The fourth through first are quite enough world. Consider fat as a civil service. Candles, soap, cosmetics, the clacks of small comforts, all of it rides on wagons from a place that thinks Ankh-Morpork is a rumor with too many people. Cut the wagons and the city discovers how much of civilization is grease. Vimes is sent to keep the grease moving and not to start a war, which is the same assignment in two dialects. Werewolves believe in weather because weather does not require a warrant. Vimes believes in warrants because weather has no appeal process. Their conversation was never going to be a garden party. Snow makes it honest. Cheery among the deep down is a proof. Proofs annoy priesthoods. She does not argue theology. She wears a dress in a mine, which is an argument that does not need a podium. Igor stitches because the alternative is a pile. Uberwald produces piles. Ankh-Morpork produces paperwork about piles. Vimes, uncomfortably, is becoming the bridge. When Wolfgang falls, it is not a myth ending. It is an arrest that the forest tried to prevent. Forests do not get a vote in Ankh-Morpork law, though they keep applying. The coach home is slower than a clacks and faster than grief. Sybil sleeps. Vimes does not, much. He watches the mountains shrink into something a map can hold. Maps lie, but they lie in a useful size. Sleep. The scone is heavy on its plinth. The fat will move. The kettle in Pseudopolis yard will not know it was ever in doubt. One more thing before the lamp goes. Snow forgets. Law remembers. Vimes prefers law, even when his feet disagree. Sybil prefers him with feeling in his feet. Uberwald can keep the howling. Ankh-Morpork will keep the fat moving, the kettle on, and a commander who pretends diplomacy was an accident. Werewolves will tell the story as a hunt. Dwarfs will tell it as a relic. Vimes will tell it, if asked, as a job. That is why he was sent. Mountains teach scale. They also teach that most emergencies are local and loud. Vimes, who has policed a flood of people, finds a flood of snow strangely familiar. It hides things, it lies about edges, it melts into paperwork. Sybil's dragons were a rehearsal for Uberwald. Heat, teeth, protocol. She did not mention this. She packed extra socks. That is strategy. Cheery will send a letter home that is also a flag. Flags in mines are complicated. She sends it anyway. Angua will walk a city beat and smell wolf only when she chooses. Choosing is the luxury the castle never learned. The fat wagons creak. Creaking is a hymn Ankh-Morpork understands.